Hi and welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm Ana Fernandez. I'm an attorney, a family law attorney here in Miami. And in this video, we're going to briefly talk about the recent verdict in the Pablo Lyle case. This is a case where Mexican actor Pablo Lyle had road rage and he pretty much punched Juan Hernandez, who unfortunately fell and died. Pablo Lyle was convicted of manslaughter. And just shortly after the verdict, his wife files for divorce. So how does this affect the civil case that, if they haven't filed it already, the family or the estate of Hernandez is going to file against Pablo Lyle, where they can recover monetary damages for the murder of Mr. Hernandez? So typically speaking, when there's a divorce, there's equitable distribution. So equitable distribution, that means that the court looks at all the assets, liabilities, and the court, more likely than not, will award or enter an order, equitably dividing the assets and debt of the parties. So what happens if, let's say, we know that there's a lawsuit that's going to come and the parties file for divorce, and in that divorce, the spouse that's at trial transfers everything to the other spouse. Now, this was very similar to what happened in the case with George Floyd, where the police officer who was tried and convicted of murder kind of did something very similar. Right after the verdict, or close to the verdict of finding him guilty, the wife files for divorce, and in the settlement agreement, the police officer pretty much gave everything to the wife. And when the court saw the settlement, the court pretty much said, no, I can't accept this, because this is almost like fraud, because you're pretty much giving everything. And when you're giving something to one party to try to avoid a creditor, to try to avoid a judgment, that is in bad faith. So is that what's happening here? We don't know. We don't know what's happening behind closed doors. We do know that the wife of Pablo Lyle did testify during the trial, and didn't necessarily say that they were separated. I believe she said that they were still together. However, shortly after the verdict, there we go, she files for divorce. So how is this going to affect the distribution of the assets? Well, they should probably speak to a family law attorney, make sure that whatever settlement agreement they enter into is something that's fair, because when there's a disparity, and in this case, well, like in the case of George Floyd's, of the police officer involved in that case, instead of giving everything to the other party, it would have been fair and equitable if it would have been divided down the middle. Of course, if there's if there's a claim for dissipation of assets, that's typically a judge will award the party that did not dissipate the assets. They would award them a higher amount of whatever it is to be divided, and that may happen here. But again, if there's something that is completely off, where one of the parties is pretty much giving away all of the assets to the other, then it's definitely something to question. I don't think a judge will accept an award that way. And if I were in the civil case, I don't know if it's possible, but I would definitely file a motion to stay any order that would divide the marital assets, because it's almost anticipated when something like this happens, and just right after the verdict is announced. And I'm not saying that they're doing this in bad faith, but it just brings that question to mind, because there will be a lawsuit, if it hasn't been filed already, by the estate of Hernandez. I know that the son has outwardly said so. So and in that instance, it's a lower burden of proof than it is in a criminal case, and he's already been convicted. So there's a high chance that they will be successful in the civil case. And if that's the case, then the divorce will have some sort of an impact. And all I can say is that I hope they speak and hire good family law attorneys, because if they do want to separate their assets and not have the wife be held responsible to any type of verdict, then they should do so in an equitable way, and not trying to hide or protect certain assets in the event that there's a judgment against them for, you know, X amount of dollars that could really drive them into debt. And on top of that, he's appealing, and appeals are extremely expensive. So we're talking, you know, a lot of money. So we could only wish the best for both families. It's very unfortunate what happened. But to answer your questions, if it's possible to do that, and well, yeah, it's possible people do it. However, it doesn't mean that a court is going to accept your agreement, because it could be viewed as something that was entered into in bad faith and goes against public policy. And of course, judges have extreme discretion in family law cases, and that's something that they should consider. So if you have any questions or any comments, any feedback, please let us know. We're here to help you. We're here to create content like this so that we can help better serve our community. So we want to hear from you. Have an awesome day.